All right, everybody. This is Dr. Richard Smith, and your field of specialty was animal behavior.
Yes.
Okay, we were over here the other day, since on the land that we're on, and we had a mountain lion that killed our goats. And we came over to talk to Richard, and he started talking to us about work that was done 20 years ago.
Well, I think probably it's continued. I left academia at least 20 years. I left academia in 81, I think. Yeah, geez.
More than 20.
This is closer to 40. So I don't know. I'll try and give you something.
Okay, so we were talking about taste.
Go ahead, then you asked me.
Yeah. So we were talking about taste aversion, which was something that I've never heard about. So do you want to talk to us about that?
Well, I guess so. Let me give a little background. There's a large field about the generality of the laws of learning. And it turns out that even in utero, across probably all known many species, so forth, one finds that there are particular rules of conditioning how animals learn. And it usually takes quite a few trials to get there. You learn slowly. But there's one odd kind of learning that doesn't fit anything, and that seems to be something that's been called taste aversion. And in taste aversion, it happens in one trial. And there's a great deal of basic scientific research on it. But one aspect, and I had a student in my lab whose name was Carl Gustavson, I believe he's dead. And we had a new, very well-known senior faculty member, John Garcia, moved to our University of Utah. And Garcia had introduced this field of taste aversion. And my student did his doctorate degree on that. And that involved trying to stop the sheep predation. We were living in Utah, but in these areas, seasonally, the sheep are migrated from one range to another. And when they do, the lambs primarily, but occasionally full-grown sheep, get predated by primarily coyotes. And so this is a serious problem, and they put explosive devices, 1080 bombs, and deadly poisons, all sorts of traps to kill these nasty predators and so on. We didn't much like that. So decided to apply John Garcia's taste aversion techniques. And as I was telling you guys the other day, that involved taking a fresh, in this case, sheep, with the lanolin still on it, very strong and odor that presumably a predator would get, and take these things and put in a pound or two of dog food and lace this with a salt. Actually, a salt that's used to treat depression widely in clinical, called lithium chloride. So we salt this meat because it is naturally occurring salt, or I guess maybe we got a chemist here, but deadly salts, I suppose there are. But the extent to which they would have to eat the substance to half of them die, it's called the lethal dose, 50%, is extremely high. It just means it would be very hard to kill these animals with chloride. They do get sick. Anyway, so you put this bait inside the carcass, and staple it shut, and leave it along the migration path. And voila, anybody that gets into that has an aversion to sheep. And Garcia claims, I wasn't involved in the actual research showing offspring, but it appeared that actually the next generation was averted. It never clear to me. I didn't follow it up. I left the University of Utah shortly thereafter. But this was adopted widely in Canada. And, I taught it in Nova Scotia, shared it with sheep herders there in England, I think in Europe, several places. But in the United States, we don't do things like that. And the Wool Growers Association is extremely strong. And they, I don't believe, want to solve the problem. It's easier to collect because they can call something a predation and not have to raise a sheep and sell it and whatnot. So it has not, at least in those years, and I haven't followed this field, so So you're asking me questions that were 20 years old. But it was wonderful because the coyotes, at least in my mind, appeared to now be protectors of the sheep because the coyotes that are there use the best habitat, best homes, and they'll stay there until somebody shoots them or poisons them with one of these traps. But if you don't, in their taste aversion, then they occupy the prime real estate. Other coyotes don't move in. They don't eat the sheep, and so in that sense, the sheep are protected by the coyotes.
So basically what happens, they eat the food with the lithium chloride, and then every time they see a sheep, they throw up, or they have like a yucky, because it leaves them.
Well, the interpretation, whether this is just nausea, some kind of, is beyond the experimental ability to extract that from the data. One would think so. That's what's happening. The product has to go past the nose and down the throat. So from a conditioning standpoint, there are these clues, this intense odor and the taste, and then if you get profoundly sick, you don't tend to eat that stuff again.
Right. And so,
but you can't really interpret. That's going beyond the data.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, but it can get the predators to stop eating whatever animals are in there. So if you have a goat, you have to do it with a goat. If you have sheep, you have to do it with sheep. You have to do it with a goose, then you have to do it with a goose.
Presumably you would. Again, I apologize for repeating myself so much, but since I haven't followed the field, right, I don't know how many other species have been now studied.
Okay.
The original theoretical work was quite broad, but primarily dealt with rodents, a variety of other small animals. I think we were the first to ever try and apply it as a practical animal control measure. We did a little work with a bear so we'll forget the name of it, at the zoo in Salt Lake City, and it showed aversion. And now you're telling me there may be an opportunity to practice that because of poor animal husbandry.
Yeah. And, that causes, that's probably got to be, one of the number one causes is poor animal husbandry that helps to offer potential to bring predatory animals in. You can't stop them from coming in, but, leaving stuff around and your animal's not taken care of leaves opportunity.
Yes, you bet it does.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, if these animals have been locked up well in some kind of signaling device to alert you, if there was a big animal prowling around, actions would have been taken, and these are very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
Most of your upper predators stand out as very adaptable. They're also remarkably fearful. It's always interested me, large predators that take out all these other small prey animals are themselves don't like to be hurt. Very reactive. Learn quite quickly. So I think, yes, you would have avoided wouldn't have to avert it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to let me interview you. And this is Dr. Richard Smith. And
who hasn't used that title in many years?
Well, and we are over and out on the subject of taste aversion. All right. Thanks so much. It's an actual field of study.
Yes, please Google it if you view this, and then you can catch up and perhaps track me down and tell me what the field's doing.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much. Bye.